Ladies and gentlemen and programmers, let's do CodeAcademy Lesson 4, Part 6. It's the sixth of 8 parts. So the first thing that we're going to do is I want you to read the stuff over here. Okay, make sure you read this for understanding. Hit pause on this video and just read until you get here. And then what I want you to do is I want you to write down an intelligent question in your notes about something in that reading that didn't quite make sense, and then we'll hopefully go over it and I'll just explain it to you in a way you'll understand. All right, write this down. Pass values into a method called means. You're giving a method the data that it needs. All right, so this is from the reading. It says we must pass values into the method call. What does that mean? So it's basically like this. So if somebody wrote a method for jump, so you were teaching your car to jump. I don't know why you teach your car to jump, but I guess you could. I guess you want to. So you'd say void jump int how high. Okay, so you'd create the jump method, and you're saying, hey, if I'm teaching how to jump, but in order to jump, you have to tell me how high. And so when you're actually using that method, when you're actually asking a car to jump, you'd say jump 52. Well, this 52 is passing that data into the method, and so now it says, oh yeah, okay, now I know how to jump. I'm going to jump 52 pixels or whatever, 52 feet or whatever the 52 means in that game. So that's what that means by passing values into a method. Okay, so let's take a look at this code here. So this is the sample code that they gave us. Okay, so let's break down what each of these little sections of the code does. All right, so this is the class header. It basically says, hey, I'm building a blueprint for a car. So from here to that curly brace is how to build a car. All right, so the next thing we have is the instance variable declarations, also known as instance field declarations. So all this is every car. So every time we build a car, it has a box called color that's holding basically what color that car is going to be. Okay, so it's creating the boxes in the RAM, the instance variables, the fields that are going to belong to the cars. Okay, and by the way, I'm going to quiz you on this later, so make sure you pay attention here. This is the constructor method. Okay, so this is a special method that runs one time, and it helps us build the car. And the other thing it does is it allows us to make each car a little bit different. But this is called the constructor method. So it goes from this curly brace to that curly brace. Helps us build the car. Special method runs one time. That builds the car. All right, so here's what we're doing here. So when we say color equals car color, we're assigning a value to the instance variable called color. So this box right here, we're actually going to give it some information. So red, blue, green. So we're assigning a value. We're putting something into our empty box for the first time. So this is our main method. Okay, so this sort of thing up here teaches our car what it looks like. For everything from here to here teaches it what it's going to do. Okay, so we're going to give functionality to our car. What's our car going to do? In this case, it would be way more stuff in reality than this, but we're just getting started. So this is the main method header. This is the main method header. And then finally, so inside our main method, we're going to actually have it do stuff. And so here is our first line of Java code that teaches it what to do. This is not really what you do in real life, but it's kind of a start for us. And then this is the new keyword. The new keyword basically says, hey, run this constructor and let's build us a car. Okay, so remember all that. I'm gonna quiz you on it in a second. All right, so let's take a look at the same code in a different way. So what's going to happen is, let's say that we hit the go button, and this is what the car class does. Well, in this case, it's going to hit the new keyword. It's going to go up to this constructor and run this constructor, right? So basically that says, hey, Java, turn on your factory. I'm going to send you a blueprint. And he's like, okay, well, what blueprint am I going to send you? It's like, oh, I need a car. Okay, and so we send it the car blueprints, and the factory's like, oh, wait, according to the blueprints, if you're building a car, you need to tell me what color. And we're like, oh, okay, we need red. Okay, so that's what's happening so far. And then we build our car, and it's going to have an instance variable that's holding red. Okay, so that's basically how the new keyword interacts with the constructor here. Okay, let's keep going here. I have no idea okay, here we go. Here's a quiz. What is the name of this and the function? Write that down in your notes. What's the name? What is it? So basically, what is this called and what does it do? What is this called and what does it do? What is this called and what does it do? What is this called? What does it do? What is that called? What does it do? What is that called? What does it do? Okay, answer all those in your notes. I will quiz you on it in class. And what is that called and what does it do? Okay, so we're going through this again. We're going through it pretty detailed, so you have some sort of idea what's happened. So we're looking through the same sample code again in just like a little bit of a different way. Okay, so basically what happens is this. When you say car Ferrari, okay, basically what you're doing is you're building a box called Ferrari. The only kind of thing that can go into it is a car. So here's our car class. The only kind of thing that can go into is a car. Okay, so and then when we get to this new keyword, we know that it builds a factory or it starts the factory and we start building the car, right? But then we have this thing here that says red. So what happens with that? Okay, so you're saying, hey, I want a car that's going to hold red, right? So you have this thing here called string color. So the reality is this code right here runs before the constructor. So when you build a new car, it's going to do your instance variable declarations first, and then it's going to do your constructor. So we have this thing called color, and the only things that can go into it are string, which are letters in quotation marks. So when we do string color, we have an empty box. We have an instance variable that's empty. It's waiting for us to tell it what color. Okay, and that's where this comes in when we say red. So we're passing data into the parameter. So it's like, hey, I'll build you a car, but you have to tell me the color. And it's like, okay, well, give me a car, and I want it to be red. So we're passing that data into the parameter, and from the parameter, we're passing it into the instance variable so that we know now that, oh, inside our box called inside our box called Ferrari, we built a brand new object, an instance of the class, okay? And this guy has an instance variable called color, and the color is red. So it's kind of weird that it's all about boxes. So in this box, we're putting our Ferrari, and that Ferrari owns a box, and that box is red, is the color red. So that's kind of how that works. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish this section. So let's go to our CodeAcademy and see what that's going to look like. So it says inside the main method. Okay, so here's the public static void main. So we're gonna do something. It says create an instance of store. So we're gonna actually build a store, and we're gonna assign it to the variable lemonade stand. Use lemonade as the parameter value. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the data type. So we're gonna say store. So basically we're building a box called store, and no, pardon me, we're building a box called lemonade stand. Always better. I always think it's easier to just copy and paste. So we're going to copy that store, lemonade stand. Okay, so we're basically building a box called lemonade stand. The only thing that's going to go into the store, and what are we going to put into it? A brand new store. So we're going to say equals. We're going to use our new keyword, and we're going to say new store. Okay, now the only thing is we have to satisfy the parameters. So if you look at the parameters of the constructor, so if we build a store, we have to send it the product that we're going to sell at that store as a string. So we know that inside our parameters, we're going to need some quotation marks. And what kind of store is this? What are we going to mostly sell at the store? It's going to be lemonade. Okay, so I'm going to put lemonade in there. Okay, and then I'm going to run it to see if it likes it. Nothing's happened yet. We have that box, right? We've created our lemonade stand. It's not doing anything yet though, so it's just sitting there in the RAM. All right, so in step 2, it wants us to print what lemonade stand is holding in its instance variable called product type. So we're going to come down to line 13, and we're going to use our trusty system out.print line, and we're going to always end with our semicolon. What do we want to print? Well, we want to print we want to look inside of our guy called lemonade stand. And we're going to use the dot notation. And so we're going to look inside lemonade stand. So that's our store. And he has a product type. And we want to see, hey, what product type do you have? Okay, and so we're going to put product type. And we're going to run it. And it should say lemonade. My product type is lemonade. All right, there you guys have it. I'm going to decide right now if I'm going to do a little bit more. So I'm kind of going to hit pause on my recording and figure out what I'm going to do. Okay, so let's talk about what we just did with this code. Okay, so we know that this is the class header, right? We're designing how to build a store from here to here. We know that this is the instance variable declaration. So every store has a product type variable. So so every store has a product type instance variable that's attached to it. Here's the main method. This is what a store does. So in reality, a store would have a lot more code in it. But at any rate, when we get to this thing that says store lemonade, that says, all right, create a box in the RAM called lemonade. The only thing you can put into it is a store. Okay, and then we say new. It activates our constructor, and it's like, okay, hey, let's build a store. Oh, wait a minute, I need a product, and so okay, so I say store lemonade equals new store, and in the parentheses, I pass in the information to the parameters. I say, okay, so from this parameter, it's stashed permanently into our instance variable called product type, and so it creates this thing, so lemonade. So, at any rate, so we have this box called lemonade stand. Inside it, we put in a store, and this store is named lemonade stand. And that store that goes in the box has attached to it its own instance variable called product type, and it is lemonade. So when we say system.out.print lemonade stand, so it looks in the box and says, okay, yeah, inside the box there's a lemonade stand, and we say dot product type. It's like, oh, attaches that we need the product type, and it looks at that and says lemonade, and that's why over here it prints out the word lemonade. All right, that's it, guys. Hopefully that was as clear as mud.